Just stay positive. Good vibes only. Choose happiness. You've heard these phrases 1,000 times. Maybe from friends. Maybe from social media. Maybe even from yourself. But here's what nobody tells you. Psychology has a name for this. And it's not a compliment. It's called toxic positivity. And according to research, forcing yourself to feel positive emotions when you don't actually feel them doesn't just fail to help. It actively makes things worse. Today, we're going to look at what the science actually says about emotions and what to do instead of forcing yourself to smile through the pain. Toxic positivity is the belief that no matter how bad things get, you should always maintain a positive mindset. On the surface, it sounds harmless, even helpful, but psychologists define it differently. Dr. Jamie Zuckerman, a clinical psychologist, describes toxic positivity as the overgeneralization of a happy, optimistic state, one that results in the denial, minimization, and invalidation of authentic human emotions. In other words, it's not just being positive. It's using positivity as a weapon against your own feelings. You've seen it. Maybe you've done it. Someone loses their job. Everything happens for a reason. Someone goes through a breakup. Good vibes only, move on. Someone is struggling with anxiety. Just think happy thoughts. Each of these responses, however well-intentioned, sends one message to the brain. Your feelings are wrong. Suppress them. And that's where the real damage begins. Here's what's happening inside your brain when you force positivity. A landmark study by James Gross at Stanford University found that people who regularly suppress their emotions don't actually feel less. They feel just as much or more, but they use significantly more mental energy trying to hide it. Think of your brain like a pressure cooker. The emotion is the steam. Forced positivity is the locked lid. You can keep that lid on for a while, but the pressure keeps building. The result? Studies show that emotional suppression is linked to higher levels of cortisol, your body's stress hormone, increased risk of anxiety and depression, weakened immune system response, higher blood pressure, and perhaps most ironically, worse mood over time. A 2013 study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who accepted their negative emotions, rather than suppressing them, had better psychological health outcomes after just 6 months. Not people who felt more positive, people who stopped fighting their negative feelings. That's a critical distinction. Now, add social media to this equation. We live in a culture that performs happiness. Every highlight reel, every motivational quote, every grateful for this beautiful day caption. Research from the University of Houston found that the more people used Facebook, now apply this to any social platform, the worse they felt about their own lives. Not because their lives were actually worse, but because they were constantly comparing their internal reality, messy, complicated, real, to everyone else's external performance. And when your internal world doesn't match the positive standard you see everywhere around you, you don't think the standard is wrong. You think I am wrong. This is toxic positivity at a cultural scale. And it's making an entire generation feel broken for having normal human emotions. So, if forced positivity doesn't work, what does? Psychology has a clear answer, and it might surprise you. Emotional acceptance. Not wallowing, not spiraling, not giving up. Acceptance. Dr. Susan David, a psychologist at Harvard Medical School, calls this emotional agility, the ability to experience your feelings without being controlled by them and without suppressing them. Here's what it looks like in practice. Step 1, name it. When you feel something difficult, say it out loud or write it down. I feel frustrated. I feel scared. I feel lonely. Research by psychologist Matthew Lieberman at UCLA shows that simply labeling an emotion reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's alarm center, by up to 50%. Just naming what you feel literally calms your brain down. Step 2, validate it. Instead of I shouldn't feel this way, try, it makes sense that I feel this way given what I'm going through. This is not weakness. This is psychological intelligence. Step 3, let it move. Emotions are not permanent states. They are waves. Research shows that the average emotional wave, if you don't fight it, peaks and passes within 90 seconds. 90 seconds. The problem is that when we suppress or fight our emotions, We extend that 90 seconds into hours, days, sometimes years. Step 4. Choose a response. After you felt it, not suppressed it, not performed over it, then you choose how to respond. This is the difference between reacting from emotion and responding with intention. None of this means you should live in negativity. Psychology isn't saying be pessimistic. What the research consistently shows is that the healthiest mental state is not forced positivity, and it's not negativity either. It's something called realistic optimism. Realistic optimism means acknowledging what's hard without dramatizing it, believing things can improve without pretending they're already fine, feeling your emotions fully while not being defined by them. Martin Seligman, the founder of positive psychology at the University of Pennsylvania, spent decades researching what actually makes people mentally resilient. His conclusion? It wasn't people who felt the most positive emotions. It was people who had the most accurate perception of reality, including the difficult parts, while maintaining a belief that they could navigate it. That's the goal. Not happiness, not positivity, honest engagement with life. The next time someone tells you to just stay positive, you can smile. Not because everything is fine, but because you now understand something most people don't. Your negative emotions are not your enemy. They are information. They are telling you something important about your needs, your values, and your life. The goal was never to feel positive all the time. The goal was to feel fully, honestly, and without shame. That's not weakness. That's what psychological strength actually looks like. If this changed how you see your own emotions, subscribe to AbsorbLab. Every week, we turn the latest psychology and neuroscience research into something you can actually use. See you next week.